We asked CAB members to identify your region and then how long you've been a member. I will start. I am Tanya Thompson, and I've been a member for 1 year, West County.
My name is Nina Moore. I've been a special share in CAB, and equity.
Oh, my name is Paul Carpenter. I'm a CAB member.
Okay, and now if you can have the introduction of the staff and their agency. Let's start with Jill, and then we can start with those online, and then we'll do the ones in the room.
Hi there, Jill Ray with Office of Supervisor Candace Anderson.
Kimmy Aseo with the ORJ.
Jana Evans, Office of Education inside the jails.
If there's no others, we will start then with the ones in the room. And we can start.
Hi, I'm Andrea Lopez. I'm the admin coordinator for the Contra Costa Reentry Network.
I'm Michael Pitts, the Entry Network.
Hello, my name is Charmaine Collier. I'm the divisional director of the Helpline 360 Contra Costa Reentry Network.
I am Cynthia Zabala, a program manager for Center for.
Gary Gardner, the mentor specialist for the members.
I'm the issue operations. I still mention it direction.
Cedric Weston, entry manager.
Shantina Jackson Romero, CEO.
Auxiliary Office of Reentry and Justice. Denise Subcommittee, Office of Reentry and Justice.
Thank you. Let's set the table for the decorum in this form. Person who wishes to address the Community Advisory Board, CAB, doing public comments on matters within the jurisdiction of the CAB that are not on the agenda or wish to comment with respect to an item on the agenda may comment in person, via Zoom, or via call-in. Those participating in person should make public comments when called upon. Those participating via Zoom should indicate they wish to speak by using the raise your hand feature in the Zoom app. Those calling in should indicate they wish to speak by pushing *9 to raise your hand, 6 to mute, and then *6 to unmute their phone. As a courtesy of others, public comments will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Let's pause for a moment and review our purpose. The purpose is to advance justice, reinvestment, and protect community investments. Some of our responsibilities are recommend program-related policies around both existing and new funding opportunities with a focus on evidence practice, local, regional, and national, innovation, and recommendation for implementation. Engage providers to educate CAB and our committee members about their work, outcome, needs, and recommendation. Promote a structure for an implementation of a comprehensive need assessment for the county reentry population. What's working, what's needed to inform future programs, recommendation, funding allocation. Participate in programs and service-related RFP development, process, and handling by assignments from committee chair and our CAB overall. We are grateful to those who are members of this committee and so appreciate your commitment to the fund. Now let's start with our agenda. Are there any announcements?
Actually, yes, one announcement here. ORJ is hosting, we got a lot of things going on, just in a number of different meetings that are happening that are related to the reentry space. We do have our CCP meeting next Friday, 10:30 to 12. They'll be here in this room. That would be a great opportunity to hear next steps with regards to the one-time allocation from the fund balance that CAB has recommended that will go toward, for specific priority areas, which include, pre-release engagement, housing, employment, and, expanding behavioral health supports. There will also be an update on the FY 22-23 financial reporting. We haven't seen in a while, and all of this is kicking up as folks will start to deliberate on the budget request will be for the next fiscal year. So you want to be sure to tune in for that. The ORJ is also hosting our restorative justice stakeholder workshop. Fortunately, we have hit our capacity, so if you didn't register, just email me. We'll figure out a way to get you engaged, at least in future work that is to come. But we are hosting it at the Rise Commons in Richmond. We're really looking forward to it. And we will have a presentation from our project manager on this effort at the special CAB meeting, which is taking place next Monday from 2 to 4. So hopefully you all will be available in this room. You can also tune in via Zoom. I think that's it.
I have another announcement. Isaac Carter, who is the chair of this committee, was in an automobile accident last week. And I talked to her this morning. She had an aneurysm, had brain surgery, and she's doing well. So I thought I would share that with everybody. And I do have her home address in case you want to send cards. Patrice and her group, they were kind enough to send out the hospital, etc. If you wanted to send flowers, I now have the home address, so you can send cards and whatever you want to her home. She will be released this afternoon.
Wow,
That's
amazing.
I know, yeah.
Wow.
And thank you for chairing this meeting.
Any other announcements? If not, public comment on any item under the jurisdiction of the Community Advisory Board and not on this agenda at this time? Okay, if there's no comment, we'll move on to approval of the minutes from our meeting on August 17th. We can review the minutes. When we vote on that. Okay, if you have the opportunity to read them, we can now move on for approval of the minutes.
I call for a motion to.
This is Latanya Thompson.
Do you have a second?
Jill, is that you?
It was Kimmy.
Kimmy,
Sorry, do you have a second? I didn't.
You didn't hear who said it.
I second. I'm sorry. Latanya Thompson, I second.
Oh, okay. Who was the motion? I think you got cut off. Sorry, who motioned?
My name is Rita Moore. I called the motion.
Okay. Perfect. And then, so we'll put it to a vote. Latanya,
Now for discussion.
And just to clarify, since all of you are in the room, you do not need to take a roll call vote.
oh, perfect. Okay. Thanks, Jill.
Now you can call the roll, Kimmy.
Latanya,
Here.
and then Rena,
Yes.
All right, so it passes.
Okay, next on the agenda is discussion of the custody survey. So we talked about this, last month. We're excited. This is the first time that the survey not only included the vendors, but it also included those that were incarcerated. We're excited about those who have participated. That information was very helpful when we met with Assistant Sheriff, this month, me and Crawford. One of the things that was asked when we talked about the needs of the community was he was like, I'm glad that you have the information from the vendor. However, I would like to know what those that are incarcerated are saying what their needs are. So we were able to share that information. So it was very helpful. And we're looking forward to even establishing and growing the awareness about it next year. But we are excited that we did well for the very first. So thank you, Rita, and all of you that participated in making sure we had the right questions, getting the information out there, entered it, and then providing us feedback.
Latonya, if we can, we do have some further updates too in terms of the collection of the surveys and process in terms of analysis and likely timeline, projected timeline for when we can get that information back to you.
Yes, we received, I believe it was about 97. We received about 97 interviews from individuals in custody. We have gone through and have entered that data into a spreadsheet, all the quantitative data. The qualitative data now is in process of being examined and looked at from a thematic analysis perspective. We have just started that and we'll be conducting our innovator reliability tests next week. All this to say, in addition to this work, Christina's last day with us was last week. And so the ORJ data team is down one person. So this will not be as quick a process as I had been originally hoping, but I would expect that we will have some draft analyses to present back to you, maybe by the end of October is what we're targeting, given the breadth of the work and our staffing constraints at this point. But I can tell you that I've looked at all of the surveys myself. I've looked at all of the narrative kind of responses. What I will say is that I personally learned a lot about the population in custody. We have made some assumptions that the population is roughly about an 8th grade level. I think given what I've seen come back to us, that might be a little bit of an overestimate. So we might want to reshape some of the questions to be even more straightforward next year. The very good news is that there are, even after we set the cutoff date for submitting surveys, there are people in the jails who know about this and want to participate. So I'm excited that next year, especially since Jody has mentioned that folks will get tablets, we will have to reshape the survey so that it's primarily yes or no or response categorized kind of questions. But we could very likely get more participation than we have. No surprise here, housing. And this is just my anecdotal information. Housing, employment. There's a good proportion of individuals that have intellectual disabilities, which is the first assessment that we've ever had, even if this is not considered a general, a rigorous general sample of the in-custody population. It's as high as I would expect it to be. So there's some good information coming out and I can give you more details. Fingers crossed the end of next month. Does anybody have any questions about where we are with it? Okay.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't have a question, but I do want to just mention that during the last program and services meeting, I misquoted the total number of responses, I said about 13 or something like that. I misread the email that came through. So all to say, this is even happier news. To know
Good
that
number.
we have a really, I would say nice sample size of the population overall. And
It's
yes,
definitely skewed towards men, I will say that. I think we had only one woman who participated, which is, speaks more to how we're trying to recruit individuals. But with, I'm not sure, I want to say off the top of my head, the average daily population in custody is somewhere between 12 and 1,500. So we're somewhere just slightly less than 10% of a sample size. So.
Did it go out to all of you?
Yes, it did. Mhm. Yes, it,
How did you disseminate it?
Jody and her team was able to do that.
yeah, she, it was for a period of about 1 week or week and a half.
Right.
So Dawn Sickanita, who's the director of inmate services over at, or programming, I always get a title somewhat confused. Over at the sheriff's office, she has, I guess, a set of like student interns that then went around to all of the modules and disseminated the surveys on our behalf. They did multiple, or I would say a couple of rounds of both passing out and collecting. But again, it was only within a week and a half window, so it wasn't very long. But we did also get word from, I believe, Nicole over at GPS for Game Plan for Success, that they also ran into a couple of, or as they were meeting with different individuals inside, that they also indicated their interest in filling out surveys, and by that point, surveys were already done. So kind of harking back to Denise's point, that there was actually really great interest from folks in wanting to provide their feedback, so.
Okay. I'll have more update for you next month.
Thank you. Next, we're gonna have Crawford speak about the 8109 mini summit.
Okay, on August 23rd, a group of us decided, and by the way, Michael Pitts was there. So there's the trees, putting a little mini summit together from other counties. We had representation from Alameda County, Solano County, Santa Clara County, ourselves, and San Francisco. And it was just, it was enlightening. We shared what each of our organizations were attempting to do, how we were attempting to do things. And in fact, we had a lady that volunteered to host the next summit, and contacted her last week, and she's going to be working with the powers that be at Alameda County to see if she can do it. And if not, we will do it ourselves and just have another venue. And what was so interesting is we had various levels of individuals that attended. From our group, we had our vice chair, who was Nicole Green. We had a past chair of outreach and community engagement, Scott Parsons, and it was just an excellent group. We put together minutes of the meeting, and in addition, we put together a directive. Everybody that was at that meeting, we had name, rank, serial number, basically. We had the name, email address, and phone number to contact. So we just started that, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed that this summer goes. So that's it.
Thank you. So moving on, we're going to now move on to our presentation for the Reentry Network. The first presenter we have is Health Rights 360.
Good morning. Again, my name is Michael Pitts. I'm a field operations coordinator, case manager with Health Right 360 Reentry Network. Thank you for having us come here to speak today. I do want to honor kind of our time frame that we have. So I do kind of want to go through our presentation. I'm not necessarily gonna go line by line, but my understanding is that this committee wanted to kind of really know where we kind of fit in with the whole county realignment and where just how we do business, how we get referrals and how we work. So feel free to tell me to slow down if I'm moving too fast, but that's why I'm kind of gonna go through these, okay? So this is a little history. Actually, Health Right 360 is really well known throughout the whole state. So just our history that we are from the Haight-Ashbury Free Clinic and Walden House kind of merging to Health Right 360. So we actually do have a lot of name recognition. A lot of folks know us from, especially from Walden House, for any kind of SUV support. So and that's just a little bit how we started. July 1st, 2010, they merged with Health Right 360. So we're in the Bay Area, Los Angeles, San Diego, all the way down the state. So this is kind of our mission, and I think the peeps and chalk is really important. That, you know, our hope is just to make a difference with folks, right? And then we want to just I think our mission kind of melds with what the county's trying to do with ORJ and the whole realignment is that we just want a collaborative system of reentry services that use public, private, and community-based resources to support and have new pathways for folks, you know, just that wraparound services. Next one, please. Okay, here's the service population. So we do know that AB 109 is the kind of the fuel for the engine. So we do serve all probationers, AB 109, returning to Central and East Contra Costa County. And then also all formerly incarcerated individuals, whether in supervisionary county or not, and we'll assess those folks. I've been here since the beginning of the project. Well, I should say beginning of Health Right 360 from February 2017. And through that time, the net has widened as to who we consider reentry, who we've been working with. So, you know, at the beginning, anybody here was at the beginning, it was just strictly AB 109 folks that were getting the services. And so now we work with a whole range of folks. And these are the services that are offered. Housing assistance, we do need to update that because it is transitional housing assistance. So, and I know earlier was spoken that there are challenges with housing with our population, but it is transitional housing. So if you look down this list of services that we offer, these are all partners that are in the reentry. So, you know, we have legal aid, employment support, family community beautification, ID, SUD treatment and mental health, vocational training, and mentorship. So some of these that we provide, but a good deal of them, we're actually connected with our partners that we've been working with in the whole reentry and realignment and Contra Costa. Who do we serve? Hey, folks, we had this, we got this map, we added this on because folks don't really know their east, west, north, south for a while. So first started, we asking people, hey, where are you from? You from the east? They say, yeah. Where you live? Richmond. Right. So we have. So what we ended up doing, we learned that you know, this is our service area, and Central and East Contra Costa County, and our, you know, the Reentry Success Center handles the west. So this is kind of how we roll. Our entry points and how do people get to us? So of course there's an entryway from probation. We get a lot of those from probation. We're also, like I said, we're getting the whole range of contact with the systems. We actually have federal folks that are being referred to us. Public Defender's Office, for the feds and for Contra Costa County, Police Department. We talk about, and that's kind of other CBOs, mobile showers, community outreach center. And also one thing that we can do is that people can also self-refer to it. So we get self-referrals as well. And so what's on the board now is just basically, the process of once we get a referral, field operations coordinator and myself, we're going to connect with the potential participant. And then if we decide that it's a good fit, we're going to do an intake, then we do an individual service plan. And then at that point, we may refer folks out to the service. And those are the other partners that you guys are probably well aware of that are all part of the whole reentry for this county. So we'll refer participants to service providers, and then we continue engage them on our caseloads, and then we're going to monitor their progress against the service plan that we provided for them, and then just follow-ups. And then again, we may end up referring them to other folks later on based on the changes in their needs. A little bit of system structure. Again, probation was always at the top because that's where we got most of our referrals from. Kind of look down to the right, AD service providers. That was kind of that list I was talking about, where these are all these folks we've been working with hand in glove over these last 7 years. So these service provision, the housing, employment, family communication, legal services, ID, and mental health SUD training, most of those are referred out to partners. As I'll talk about later, we do actually have mental health and SUD treatment in-house as well right now. And then, see, I think there's anything else. Oh, and also, we're case management. So that's kind of what our model is. Field operations coordinators, my job description is apropos because we actually spend time in the field. We're trying to connect with clients where they are. So we do not have like a resource center model. So when we talk about other offerings, we do have a workshop series last Wednesday every month, 6 to 8. We do have a workshop, and it is based on topics. We're helping folks with reentry. It's not necessarily a group, but it's more of a topic based get together. We break bread. It's a good program. Ronell Ellis, our other FOC, he spearheads that. And if I'm looking down there, some things are coming back. The monthly reentry partners and providers, that used to be part of our contract. ORJ took it over, and I understand it's going back to the Reentry Success Center and the Reentry Networks to start planning those. We also we do a community resource fair every year. Last one, 200 people, almost 300 people participated. So we will be doing that again. We do that every calendar year. And then also system-wide trainings used to be part of our contract as well. But we do have some training that's going to be coming down the pipe. So we used to actually have to do training for other providers, but there is some stuff coming October 26th. So I don't know if it's out yet, but we will provide training opportunities. Oh, save the date goes out. See, have people in my ear. I don't have all this information right here, so I'm getting it in stereo right here and left here, so that's great. And I think it's important on the left top, you talk about partner collaboration and management, and that has been, I think, a benefit, a bonus, and it's ongoing, not so much a challenge, but work to make sure that we're still interacting with all our partners out there so that we can collaborate and work, do this wrap around this whole service for the participants. It's not an excuse, but I know I hear myself saying it, is that we're really trying to get some semblance of normalcy post pandemic. And so, I mean, even with some folks in the room right now that a lot of our interaction was in person. You know, we were in each other's spaces, you know, working with clients, and we've lost a lot of that. So I know part of our efforts is really, our managing director is one of the focuses that we're trying to really reestablish a lot of those connections that we had before the pandemic. So hopefully that doesn't sound excuse me. I don't know if excuse me is the word, but I didn't want it to. Thanks. And then basically on our side, we have network providers. We'll talk about a little bit. We do have some transitional housing. You can go to the next one. Some transitional housing. Yes, here we go. Service providers. So we do have a component where we do have some transitional housing for our participants. However, we're not like a housing provider. It may seem, I don't know, splitting hairs, but I feel like we have to really kind of have folks kind of understand that. And also the fact that that the housing that we do provide, we are subcontracting beds, and that the money for housing doesn't follow a client. So I know there's some programs that the client is the one that's funded, and then you find a place for them, and then you pay for them. We're subcontracting beds, and so those are Divine House and Miss Shirley's Transitional are two of our subcontractors, and then also Centerforce, which provides great gender responsive case management. And so we have a few women on our caseloads, but for the most part, women who are referred to us, probably 95% of the time, we transition in the Centerforce for gender specific case management. I tell folks they do exactly, we all do the same good work, I think, but they're gender specific. All right, and then again, we're talking about, again, I said we're not necessarily a resource center, but there are some things that we do at our site, and this is just kind of a list of workshops. We've done financial literacy workshops. We do have a network app. You'll see a QR code that actually has some resources in the county. And then again, our motivational incentives, we were able to provide some support with gift cards, transportation assistance for our participants, and our mentor navigator and no wrong door sites. To the next one. 3 minutes. Okay. Okay, we do have a mentor. I'm getting through it. Mentor navigator. These are people that want volunteers that lend support, and they're going to help us with our case management. And they're volunteers. And this is another area that we're trying to really augment, because once COVID hit, we've really lost a lot of our traction and a lot of our folks. So we're getting this up rolling again. And also the no wrong door sites. Those are all sites that maybe are not in the, if we pull the list for the whole realignment and the list of all the folks that are working, they might not be there. But we've strengthened relationships with them so that could be an entry point to get with the reentry network. For instance, for instance, a library, monument crisis center. So this is another area that the mentor navigator coordinator, that's kind of their role. And that another thing we're trying to strengthen. Moving forward. The next. Okay, so with the reentry, there's parameters. I said the net was widened as far as folks that were connected or impacted by criminal justice that had been in jail or prison. However, we did get a community reinvestment grant where we are providing mental health treatment and substance use disorder treatment. Now, what's really cool about this grant is it's for the whole county, and it's not reentry based. So any adult who lives in Contra Costa County can access this. And so we do have quite a few people right now that are are actually going through the process, maybe mental health diversion, that it's really taking a long time with the processes, you know, to get your primary care doctor appointment, and then, you know, he or she has to refer you out. So this is the opportunity where there's no Medi-Cal billing or anything like that. So this is something that we provide. And then there's a group schedule. There's actually groups they're doing Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Community Outreach Center in Antioch. And then also our mental health person is part of the group, and also is doing individual. There's a component for an individual with SUG as well, but our counselor's out right now, so we're only actually doing group on that side. And I did neglect to mention one thing about our outreach and referrals, that with Contra Costa County Education and GPS, and actually Men and Women of Purpose as well, agencies that are in the facilities, that we do get referrals from them, and we do go in to the jails to meet the clients there, potential clients. So I don't know how I did, but I'm gonna pass this over. Pass this over to Charmaine, and then again at the end if you have any questions. So
I got 4 minutes. All right. 4 minutes. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Charmaine. I'm the Divisional Director of Helpline 360. Just real briefly, I just want to talk about where we see how some extra funding could assist in certain areas. So as we continue to collaborate, you know, with our participants, providing empowerment, linking them to different resources in the community, we know housing is a big issue, big. So currently right now, we have funding where we are able to help those who are in transitional, like Michael talked about, like at Divine House, to provide funding towards their transitional living. With the funding though, we're only able to provide maybe up to 6 people a month. What if we're able to, you know, extra funding, maybe we can do 10 people, 12 people, maybe 15 people. We know that housing will continue to be a big issue. We also know that at some point, our participants are going to want to leave the transitional and maybe get an apartment. But we also know rent is very expensive. We also know that they don't have jobs to always accommodate that rent. So we think that we could benefit our participants to have extra funding in the housing. When it comes to transitional living, right now we pay, for some we pay the entire amount, which is $900. For some we may pay a portion. So for the first 90 days, if they don't have a job, then we pay the whole thing for them. The next 30 days, 30% if they get a job. The next 30 days, 50%. And then by the time you get that 180 days, now we're talking about they're paying the whole 100% of that. So that's one way we think that we could benefit from extra funding. 2, financial support for those at intake that we are referring to transitional leaving. Maybe we could give them a one-time $250, $300 stipend for food and toiletries. We know that some SLEs do provide food, some SLEs don't provide food. So when you're coming out of, you know, when you're transitioning back into the community, you don't have a lot, you know, at all. So if we could provide those care packages for them just to get them started, that would be a huge benefit for them. Something else that we think will benefit is the purchase of laptops. Maybe 20 or so, we know laptops are expensive, but it will give them the opportunity to be able to job search, prepare for their employment, take online classes if they decide that they want to go to school. If they participate in self-help groups that are virtual, that'll give them opportunity to do that. And if they have like mandated classes, like anger management that they need to attend, that will also help with that. And if they're not computer savvy, it'll give them opportunity to, you know, learn more about the technology that, you know, has taken over our everyday lives. Number 4, we have participants that we work with that are court mandated to take a 52-week anger management or domestic violence. And it is the cost of the participant to be able to do that, depending on their financial status. That's expensive, you know, and you talk about 52 weeks. So that's, say that, Michael.
1,500, 1,600 a
Yes.
year.
So that's how much that is. So with extra funding, maybe for the first 60 days that we could be able to fund that class, which would be $240 for a total of 8 classes, plus $50 for an enrollment fee. Maybe by the time that they hit the 90 days, maybe they can have or find other funding that to be able to do it. Because again, these are classes that are mandated. So if they don't attend, they could be in violation. And we're not trying to send them back to, you know, the jails or the prisons. We want to be able to help them to be successful. So that's another area. Our last area is a participant support fund. So for individuals who are seeking work, they might need, like, for instance, a person who may got a job in construction. Well, maybe they can't afford the item they need for, like, steel toe boots, masks, the hard hat, eye protection. So with that, we could probably be able to assist them with getting those items, you know, as they prepare to take the job. And then as they, you know, get their paycheck, if there's other items that they may need, then they're able to get those things on their own. So these are areas that we continue to see as we continue to collaborate and empower with our participants. So we think that it would be beneficial. So thank you. That was my first. Oh, no, we really thank you for giving us the opportunity to present today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was really helpful, the information that you shared, and we value your time that you came out to share with us. Is there any questions from anyone in the room? Okay, maybe like one question for time's sake. Is there any question from anyone that's online? I don't see any hands. So we're going to move on to the second presenter, which will be Man and Woman of Purpose. Hand it over to you guys.
My name is Frank. Life skills, mentor, direction, purpose. I can thank the community for allowing us to share that. Basically, what this basically is wondering how organization overview goes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're going to have to speak up. It's really hard to hear you, and I want to hear this presentation.
I'm going to actually have a move up and feed back up. Can you hear him now?
Hear me now, Jim? Hello?
Yeah,
Jim?
thank you.
So again, thank you again for letting us do this presentation. Really appreciate it. We go to the next slide. This basically is an overview of some of our clients that come in. We're really working on participant outcomes, participant success, and we're really highlighting, trying to get into the next phase and stages of life. Life is challenging out here these days, and so we want to continue to motivate and encourage individuals. And this is just an example of that. Next slide. Yeah, my name is Frank Hancock, and these are some of the things and trainings that we've been through. Inside of Prison Project is peer mentoring, looking for change. Also, integrated services to the offender population, motivational interviewing through Dr. Scott McClure. We also work with networks, dialogue for peaceful change, and some of my education in social science. So this is basically our mission statement that kind of goes in hand with reducing recidivism, addressing social economic barriers. We empower families and communities to be self-sufficient, which is our main goal in our mentoring program. Also, we thank for restoring their resilience and pride and purpose. Men and Women of Purpose has served over 10,000 individuals since the founding in 2011. And as a community-based organization founded and led by recovering addicts and formerly incarcerated persons, we are very uniquely qualified and positioned to support to ensure the success of the training system in the community. What we do, we have 4 quadrants. cognitive behavioral change. We do that in our in-custody mentoring groups, where we self-identify negative behaviors, keep them from returning back to custody. But if they do return back to custody, we're there to continue to support. The mentoring program has one-on-one, we have group mentoring sessions, we empower participants to achieve the goals, complete reentry plans, and actually just help navigate them through services, especially on the inside where they're getting that clarity and their cognitive is starting to change. The navigation portion of it, we have 45 network partners. And what we're trying to deal with is connections to housing, healthcare, employment, and other critical services. Our main goal is self-sufficiency, which we do with career, college support, job support, so we provide IDs, because nobody can really go to the next phase until they get their IDs. We also are part of a reinvestment grant as well. We provide work boots, resume support, and tuition. Programs we currently have is jail community, again, which provides cognitive behavior change groups. We have all three facilities, which is West County, Martinez, and Marsh Creek. The reinvestment grant I just talked about deals with substance use disorder and navigation of services, which is the countywide grant. What we're going to be talking about mainly today is the West County mentoring program, which we provide trained mentors, volunteer mentors in and out of custody to deal with mentees in and out of custody. We deal with the 8109 population, which is a priority group. We also deal with the non-8109 individuals. So we've been doing this since the inception of 2013. And this is we're going to be talking about mainly today is our West County mentoring program, which we provide one-on-one mentoring, case management, documentation retrieval is important, peer mentoring. People that have been through some certain things, we build a peer mentoring network. People that actually can help the people through the services that they got, life skills coaching, support groups, employment education, coaching, day room provided activities that socialize, help them socialize and help them problem solve, organize social events, moving voting nights. We also deal with other things as well. So here we deal with the Community Success Center. We also deal with male and female. So actually both of those programs are going through. Our referral engagement process. So this is what it looks like. As far as getting online is our top tier. We received the West County Mentoring Program. That's where our referrals come from, probation. 8109 service providers, example, we found a lot of here. Structure and so on and so forth. Game plan for success is another integral part. We work with them custom mentoring program in the county jails. And also, we also receive referrals from our in-custody mentoring program. We identify those who are returning to West County. We're able to enroll them. And at that point, we're able to refer them out to other service providers, such as the Community Success Center, we do identify someone from East County, be able to identify, which Mike talked about earlier. This is what that looks like in real time. MWP, we received referrals to 89 probation officers. We identified 8109 participants in custody. We also were able to work with other service providers when we identified the need to the assessment process and custody mentor supports that individual navigation to the next one. In real time, we continue to engage that participant through the enrollment process at our office. And we also have mentors that provide warm handoffs to West County's 8109 service providers. Our participation engagement process, and this was during the pandemic. The slide on the left is a luncheon we had. Everybody's wearing masks. Everybody wanted to keep engaged. And so engagement is a very big piece because it keeps people motivated on the same page and on the same path moving forward. As we move forward in San Francisco, which is 2021, we went to Carolina Square. People were really getting out of the pandemic mode, and we actually participated in San Francisco. A lot of people never been to San Francisco. They really had a great time. We also had a ferry boat trip excursion, trying to keep people engaged. Again, that's in 2022. People are starting to kind of get back into reality. And our latest event was in May of 2023. We had a boating event. A lot of participants were able to come out and we could see their the engagement is really starting to expand. We also have a corrections to college portion of our program where we enroll participants in college. Formerly, some of our mentors are actually people that have actually been to college. We have different grants that came through. We have a growth program that actually allow people to get forklift training, things of that nature, and also just enroll in college period. And again, that reinvestment grant helps participants with books, school, tuition, and things like that. These are some of the mentees that actually enroll in college and see the smiles on their faces that make the change. This took them on tours. This was a college tour. They was able to meet the president, they were able to meet the vice president, and actually the coordinating department. This is all about building relationships. You know, relationships on the inside, relationships on the outside. It's really good to have a connection with somebody that they know, that they can trust, somebody they talk to. This particular individual, this guy in the middle, is a mentee. You get a new job, unit. And basically, the guy on the left is the mentor. He was working with him to get the job. He saw the information himself because of the network. The mentor took the job himself because he seen the opportunity to meet the working 100%. So that's just a very example of the mentor-mentee volunteer relationship that building, regardless of whatever it is, opportunities are available to them. So why do we feel this work is so critical? We feel mentoring is the engine that makes the entire reentry process. Mentoring about tools, structure, and motivation. Teach mentees to replace negative behaviors with positive behaviors. We actually want to model the behavior, we want to reflect it back to us. Mentors teach boundary setting as they move through the reentry process. And when those ready, if you put your best foot forward, you'll be amazed at the outcome. Some of the gaps and needs in this work that we observed, as this question is asked, what have you observed? We observed that like 60 to 65% of participants are returning to East County, and they're not engaging with service providers at the time. And actually, we work in the jails, we work with EPS, work with different organizations. And just an example, we're still getting referrals. These are 7 referrals we got in the last 30 days. We made them all about probation. And also, so the other part of that is the need is more continued engagement with the reentry citizens and service providers. So what we're asking is the consideration of the implementation of MWP's former in-country, out-of-custody engagement pilot program. Is that we had a program that was that was successful, and still, you know, people still calling us 5 years later. Something must be there. They see that it's in us. We also just have something in the last 30 days. We got a referral. Hey, one around to our grant. The word we got out, and we can help. And so help is the main thing that we're trying to strive for. And again, this got this referral September 6th. We got a letter from the union September 7th. That person is down, 3.4 over 3.4 working. So that's the need. This is the activating damage, and we can actually assist with that. We're going to show a little small video, just kind of like an overview of everything that we've been doing.
Jimmy, we're not able to hear sound. I don't know if you can catch it on your.
We help the individuals to find jobs, employment, and also make referrals for other services that may be needed, such as housing, mental health, or just getting health benefits. My name is Frank Hancock, Bill Mental Purpose. Actually, I'm a founding member. Started with an idea, started with some experiences with some different individuals that we had in the community and the recovery environment. And what happened was we developed a program. You know, we know that we can help someone else by our own personal experiences. And so through that process, WP was formed. My name is Marquitas Morton. I'm a peer specialist here, peer mentor here at Men and Women Purpose. Mentoring is such a big piece for the
community, because without mentoring, I would never have taken a chance on myself had I not believed that my mentor believed in me. I had to actually hear someone with life lived experience, right? That went through the same things I went through, and that was the connection I had to my mentor. They made me believe that I could do the same things they did because they've been to the same places I've been to.
Men and Women in Purpose kind of planted the seed of hope in my mind that there is better options out there for me in terms of me being an addict and a drug dealer and what we would consider today a criminal.
My name is Kimberly. I'm the reentry mentor for women for Men and Women of Purpose. I see myself in all the women. I struggle with what they're struggling with now. And I've overcome all those obstacles and I've built a beautiful life for myself, and I'm going to keep on going. But I see where I once was and where I never want to be again.
That's the best thing that you can have as a mentor. They help you through what you're going through, what you want in life, what you don't want in life. Just having someone to talk to that really uplifts you and make you feel that you can do this. Being carrier, just my mind open up, and I can do a lot more than what I didn't think I was going to do.
Seeing them smile, seeing them gain hope again in themselves, and believe in themselves again. Basically believe in themselves, like know that they can do it, and happy again, be back to themselves again, look better, start cleaning up better, look presentable. I love being a mentor. It was awesome. And to actually give the help that I was given was awesome.
Because we do have 5 stages of change. First they come in, they identify pre-contemplation. Some people don't want to do anything about the change. Some people are contemplating shit out of shit now. Some people actually go into the change. And then there's a maintenance phase, is that once I reach to a certain point, that I want to maintain what I've already got. And so once they get to that place, that's our goal, is to get them to self-sufficiency. I won't have to do it for you. You are wanting to do it for yourself. Now it's a life challenge. What you're helping somebody helped you at one time with, so it's part of giving back. And giving back is important in change, because that's where you show how much you appreciate the change. What makes a good mentor is that he has experiences that he can share with somebody else that could actually guide them to something and help them overcome some obstacles that he actually became. Well, those are the things that give us our biggest reward, is just understanding what we've done, it's purpose. And that's where our name comes from, Men and Women of Purpose.
Any questions?
Any questions from anybody in the room? Are there any questions from anyone online?
I have a couple more minutes. I'd like to just kind of give you a synopsis. This is a copy of Reentry Network flyers, East and West. And part of the presentation was talking about how we refer out to these individuals. And one of the questions we always like to ask an individual who we're mentioning, having mentors ask, is a year from now, it's hard to understand a picture of this. If we met for coffee a year from now, what would happen over that time? So, what was your job like? How was your family like, right? What exciting things in your life would happen next? And what do you think you want to do next for yourself? So they may not see it now, but we want to change the narrative of how they think, so they can see a vision moving forward as possible.
Thank you. So before I actually conclude, is there anyone from your team that wanted to speak?
Yeah, so I just want to highlight, I know, thank you, talking about those referral processes and where the strategic gap is. We talked about, there was a time when we did in custody, out of custody engagement under Health Right 360, Patrice days. And so that terminated, but it's still, there's still a need fill that space. The relationships that are built inside the jail, when they come out of there, they're being sent out. You talk about the 65% that's going to East County. Well, they can't continue that service with us because we're not service providers in the East. But they're those people he sent you, shows you a referral, those are all East County people. They came from East County probation back to West County for us because those people requested to work with us. But they're in East County. We can't expect those people who don't have cars. It was 2 hours on the bus the other day and we still didn't get there. So, you know, that's a gap that if we're talking about filling the participants or the incarcerated person's need, their need is to continue a process that will allow them to continue to work with a person, an individual, or an agency that they can work with throughout their incarceration. That relationship is what made that video and those people and those outcomes possible. I just see that as something that the CAB should be taking a look at. Is that space, that hole? We can refer, which we do, but how does that connection happen if we're not there to make that one handle?
Thank you for that additional information. It was very helpful to be able to identify the gap and what the need is for the community so that we can revisit it and see how we can strengthen our partnership and collaboration as we move forward. So if there's no additional, well, there were no questions. So what we're going to do at this time is we're going to move on with our agenda. And so I'm going to hand it over to Patrice.
All right. So our next item is in regards to update on other presentations. So we do have scheduled for your next meeting on October 19th, a presentation from Reentry Success Center out in Richmond, and then also folks from the Bay Area Legal Aid Reentry Team, 109 Reentry Team. And I think we are trying to figure out scheduling wise about having Center Force present possibly. Okay, all right, so it's confirmed. So then you'll have Center Force as well be presenting on the 19th. And Walanda, I see you're on. So Walanda, not to call you out, but I see you on from Loud Family. We can get with you also offline to make sure we have a time slot available for you, so you guys can come and present to the programs and services committee as well. So
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So and I think we had a couple of folks that are on from Bay Area Legal Aid. They wanted to get a sense of the presentation flow, how things are going. So hopefully you guys got a good kind of gist of what the conversation will likely entail in for the next meeting. And that's essentially it. So you'll have your remaining folks likely slated for the next month's programs and services meeting.
Thank you. Are there any questions before I move on? If not, our next action steps would be we're continuing to reach out to vendors to have them come and present so that we can learn more about their services, more about the need and where the gap is, so that we can make sure that those that are incarcerated are being provided the service that they need to reduce and eliminate their chances of re-entering back into the jail once they have been released. And so what we'll be doing is reviewing the information that we received on today so that we can determine our next action steps as CAB on how we begin to put the pieces together so that we can move forward as we continue to strengthen our partnership. So once again, I want to thank both presenters for taking the time out to come, to educate, to present, and to identify where the gaps are. I feel like as a team, we can begin to fill the gaps, answer questions, and then begin to explore additional opportunities that we may have as we continue to close in on the gap of the need for the people that we are serving. If there is no additional comments, no announcement, we will adjourn our meeting, and the next one will be on October 19th at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.